Hi everyone.
What's up, Larry?
Hey, so today, as you guys know, we're having our Alligator Fabrication class by none other than Chef Chris from Centerpointe. So Chef Chris Arguin is a culinary expert with 25 plus years of experience. He spent 12 years in Hawaii as a chef there. His journey began at a young age. He worked in various restaurants. His love for cooking has led him to become a very well-respected chef, specializing in seafood. He comes from a background of fine dining as well as trending street food, with a focus on Indo-Pacific and Asian fusion cuisine. Also, a thing to note, he's 50% French. As a professional spear fisherman, and he was a sponsored spear fisherman back in Hawaii, he sources his own ingredients from the sea, ensuring freshest and highest quality. With his vast knowledge and expertise in both cooking and fishing, Chef Chris Arguin is a true culinary master. Along with him, we'll have Chef Raymond Gonzalez. He's Chef Chris's sous chef. So I'd like to welcome both of them here.
How's it going, everyone? All right. About for the shock and awe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, nitro better. So before I start, I want to give a shout out to Premier Meats, who magically was able to get me my product on a one-day notice, which is usually, those in the culinary field know, is next to impossible. 5 whole gators in a 24-hour notice at my doorstep. So awesome. So, without further ado, let's do it. Yeah. They're a little long, so they might not all fit into the shot, but we'll position them so that they do. All right, the party's gonna get a little crowded, okay? So, since we are doing this demo at a culinary school, right? A lot of you guys are culinary students that go to school here. This idea was actually started by Aaron Nielsen, Director of Dining Services, and it snowballed into hey, we're gonna teach a class at the culinary school doing alligator. Why are we doing alligator? Mardi Gras is coming up next Tuesday, right? So if you want to see the finished product of this item, you're going to come to Centerpointe next Tuesday at 5 p.m. And we're going to be smoking them outside of the building. And everyone's welcome to come try it out. We're going to have gator sausage. It'll be a pretty fun event. But before that is today. And I would like to make this a joint effort between Centerpointe and Collins College. So if Will and Ben would please come up.
All of us?
Just them. Fine. Will and Ben are students here at Collins, but they also work for me down at Centerpointe. So we got the perfect two to start. Best of both worlds. Who here has ever seen an alligator? Who's ever tried alligator? Nobody? Okay. A lot of people are afraid to try it. There's a few things that make alligator great or not great. One is the fabrication process. Alligator fat does not render. So that means you have to remove it. If you don't remove it, you have hard pieces of fat in your food that taste like a swamp. So not a good flavor. If you remove all the fat, and then you either brine or soak your alligator in coconut milk overnight, it neutralizes the meat, giving you a nice, beautiful white piece of meat that I guess could be likened, once it's cooked, it'll look more like pork. Alligator is also great because it takes on the flavors that you add to it. So whatever you're going to put in it, it will taste like that as well. So very versatile, exactly like pork. The way we're going to prepare these down at Centerpointe on Tuesday is we're going to actually stuff the tails with andouille sausage and bake or twine them and then smoke them. So that will leave it so that a very lean protein has fat to cook. We have no fat in the meat; it's dry, right? So, anyway, we can get started. Ben, Will, all right? So what we're gonna do, Chef Raymond and I will do the first cuts. Okay? There's 4 cuts on an alligator. For smoking, you don't take apart the whole animal. We're not gonna take the legs off. Not gonna take the jaw meat out. Not gonna take the ribs out or the flank steak down here. We're gonna go tail only and make it for stuffing, okay? So if you guys just want to stand to the side while Raymond and I show you. Have you ever butchered ahi tuna? Anybody here? I figured. You know the ahi tuna, right? Cylindrical, big at the top, small at the bottom, right? If you look at an alligator tail, same thing. So you got the bone running through the middle, right? The bone's gonna be your guide. It's actually quite an easy guide. So you grab your tail. You can feel the bone immediately. You can see the line where the bone actually runs down this animal. And I'm just going to show you. On the underside of this animal, the bone again, right? So you're looking at 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Of course, try to keep your piece of meat straight. Find your bone. You guys see this, right? You find the bone? Right.
Longer.
Right. You ever see the bone?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to guide, just like anything else. Start coming down this bone. I need to get in front of you for a second. And then we're going to stop right about there. This is the fan of the tail. Most of the people don't eat the fan. It's just a piece of hard cartilage comes off. Find that bone. The key step next is when you open up this animal down halfway. You see this right here, right? This is a fat line. As I mentioned before, all fat has to come off a gator. All you want to be seeing at the end is pink meat, okay?
So we just can't get that off.
Right. Not very difficult to do, but very important that you get it all off. So that's why you cut these quarters down into flat. And however you're comfortable with your knife, you just start taking it out. I recommend a very sharp knife, because a dull knife, just like cutting fish, same kind of texture, will ruin it. Ben and Will, if you guys don't mind throwing on a pair of gloves so you can actually get some texture feel on this item. Same thing as when you're cutting an ahi, you have a bloodline, right? A bloodline runs in a V. The fat line on the side of an alligator runs in a V shape. So if you're just cutting straight across, you're just going to keep taking off meat with it. So you're going to actually take this line, see it? As I cut at an angle right there. This cut's made, but and then you take this cut out here. And you do is you grab that piece. Take that out. Take that out. Take that off. Just like that. You can see what I'm looking at, right?
Yeah.
Now this piece, all fat. The young gators, the good thing is the young gators don't have marbling, so don't have fat in the meat. All the fat is outside of the meat. You get an 8-10 foot gator, you're gonna have meat with marbling, like beef, right?
Yeah.
So, just going slow so you guys can see. Get all that off. And you see this, just this little bit of white right here. You want it gone as best as can. Let's see. And you'll just follow your bone. Huh? You can actually even pull a lot of it out, grabbing it and getting it to work out. Now, down in here, you see this, right? a deeper line of fat. Pull it out. You guys have gloves on? So feel. I want you to feel it. Feel that? If you cook gator with this fat inside, right? It will come out of the, however you cook it, the smoker, the grill, the fryer, feeling just like that. You put that in your mouth, very off-putting.
Yeah. It's very firm.
Yeah. So then I guess I'll have do this side, and then I'll have Will do the other side at the same time, and I'll guide you through it. Okay? It's just a little bit of a tedious process, this part, but it's one of the most important parts. So you get down in there, use your fingers. Doesn't matter. You're running on bone. You're not ruining meat. Because what's going to happen is when we smoke it, we're going to put this back together, right? So if it's laying against a big fat cap, all that nasty flavor is going to come out. The fat tastes like swamp. You're not going to remove all the white. You'll never get all the white on. Doesn't work like that. But you want any actual tangible fat that you can grab and feel, you want gone. And this guy has a tough little spot, actually. Right. And try cut down so that bone's there, right? This guy's back together. The bone runs through the middle. It stops in here, right? So you're not going to cut too far below that bone line because we're going to come back, flip it, and do the other side. So you don't want to. So, Will, you are up, my man.
So I do this side? Or?
Yep, so I want you to feel the bone right here. Use your finger. Put your, see right here? Yeah, there you go. Put your fingers back. Yep, there you go. Follow it and pull it to the side, and it will guide itself. Yep. And don't feel it if you go fast, go slow. Better to do it right than do it quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And I go a little more deeper.
Yep. All right, let me feel your depth. A little more. Maybe a quarter inch. Okay. Now you'll start to see the white. You can do one more nice little slice through. Just do me a favor. When you're taking the fat off, let me show you one thing. Always hold your nice pinch grip right here. Never like this.
Okay.
If I had a red marker, I'd draw on your finger, like on TV show, but not really going to do that. But you get a lot more control with your blade this way, especially when you're trying to maneuver around bone.
Okay.
There you go. Because with a fillet knife, you're not using a lot of pressure. You're using the sharpness of the blade to come through the flesh.
Is this enough of a deep?
Yep. Let me just show you one. So you need to try to peel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have to give it just a little incision right there, and right here. Come up at a little angle like that. Now I'll start to show you everything right there. See it?
Yeah.
Now you can take it out.
So it would have to be.
You're gonna take this out. This is the part that I was mentioning at an angle. So you're not gonna come straight and try to do this. You're gonna come at a slight 45. Come in, give it a line, and come at the bottom, and then start removing. Then you'll get one piece out, and then you'll start to see the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Are you watching? Yeah, if you're covered.
Yeah, come on.
Can you give it a try? Yeah, sure. And then underneath.
Yeah, start to be able to peel. This is the actual meat. Now that you've made that V-line cut, you're gonna start being able to see what's coming out. So obviously right here you want to start coming out like dry. Yep. Very gentle. Very gentle. Just let the blade do the work.
That's why you recommend sharp knife.
Very sharp knife, always. If you've ever cut fish with a dull knife, you'll know exactly what I mean. It mushes. It doesn't cut. Now what I would do, because you have such a nice piece like that, I'll just give you a little demo. Take your knife, pop it under. It's called the starting point. Give it something to work with. And then from this, not from the bone side, grab and start this. See the angle of my knife? Start pulling it away.
So as you're doing that, you pull these up, right?
Yeah, slightly. You don't want to pull too hard. Although the fat on this thing is pretty strong. It doesn't have to come in all. It doesn't have to come out all in one piece. It can come out, a couple pieces.
You're gonna start with this one.
So now what I would recommend doing also, since you got a piece to grab onto, give it a nice another little.
Another starting.
Yeah. So you've probably never heard the term, but bone pivot. So you use this bone to guide.
Stick these back first.
Blade stays on that bone, right? And you're just following the bone. You're not really doing much. And what that's doing is creating that shape, that deeper cut underneath. And now you can actually grab it here and then come up in here. Okay. So flip it. Well, take the fat out first.
So this part I cut.
Yeah, take that off.
Okay. I'm gonna take the fat.
Take it right off that angle. And then you got both sides. So we're gonna take this off, but at least so we can get an idea. Yes, this is bone on top, but you want to get as much of this out as you can, as long as it's not in the meat, right?
Yeah.
And I'll show you again. So the next part is take your feeder onto the marker. Okay. All right. Everybody can see, right? This is one of the most sought after pieces of meat on a gator. This is the jaw muscle, also known as the pterygoiton muscle. Very soft, a lot of flavor, a lot of meat in here as well. And then you get your rib racks right here. Legs of the dark meat, if you're going to take the gator apart, you chop these off at the joint and you roast them. But this is going to be smoked, so we're not going to do that. Next, same thing, follow your bone line. And then under here, when you flip your gator over, you're looking at him on your right side, underside, right side is your tenderloin. They call it the jelly roll, and it's always protected by this piece right here. You see it? This right here. See that? Everybody see that? That is your tenderloin right there. You got one on each side. So a lot of people do. Take this off. This part, you can obviously see where we're cutting. Tenderloin, right? Get this fat out, get this fat line out, and then start again on that side. Okay. And then on this, just make sure you get that skin. You want to get this off. We're going to leave the tenderloin on this animal. Get this line out, and then definitely remove that.
Right.
Right.
And then for this,
This one? That's a fat line, right? Right here. Because you can peel this guy down, right? That. Grab. Hold. Like you're gonna fish. Okay?
okay,
Same thing right here. Same.
it should be like
It's just
the
a
surface of it.
Yeah. See how deep it is? So if you're gonna nick the meat, nick it on your first mark until you get really experienced at this. So that's connected. So now there you go. If it's more comfortable too, you can do is come in with your blade flat this way.
Flat.
Hold your piece, right? I'm holding it. Now just peeling away, right?
Oh, okay.
Like that. That's why you go slow, because these knives are close to their hands. And then here. Alright, so get this out, okay?
For
This right here.
We're not taking out the temperature.
Just clean it up.
Yes.
Yeah. This is all.
See, I thought that was me. That's why I didn't go.
245. And each alligator is a little different. It's just like any other animal. So that's a lot of fat.
Yeah, I got confused.
You under that? That? You under that right there? That's out. See now there's that together like that. And then this part, you can do this. Yeah. You know, you get it. And then stick it. You can use a spoon, whatever. To do it. You don't get it out. And then you just start doing cosmetic.
Okay.
See that?
That's all.
Well, you're basically just turning the meat around, looking, making sure you're removing. Because you don't want to lose this. And sometimes it comes off in little pieces, you know, it's just more about being thorough. Does that make sense?
The fat was more firm on the side.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, it will stay like that. So, okay. Yep.
That's okay.
Same thing in here, right? Out. Out.
So what you keep it here?
Take all that off, okay? Beautiful. Now, you got it on this bone line. Follow it. I do is always do a little check. Anything else in there? See? Look at that. See it?
Oh, okay. So I just like make like a little deeper one and then.
Yeah, but we're gonna flip and go to the next side. So
Okay.
now, let's clear our board. Fat. I just want to show at the end. I want to show all these guys how much fat was taken out of that table. Right, so we're gonna flip, okay? Take your gator, flip them over. Like that. Now, we got another bone line right here. Same. We're gonna do the same thing on this side, but this side has the tenderloin. Follow your bone. Follow your bone all the way up.
Looks okay to me.
And then right here. I'm gonna take it about that far, right?
Mhm.
Because after we start getting to here, it's not good. kind of tough. So what I do is I put a little 45, like that, which gives you the option now. Once you do that 45 to fan out, right, giving you a more open piece of meat to work with. We are leaving the tenderloins on this animal, so we're not removing. So now, you usually want to start it, do this, and then just roll it, lightly roll it. And then you can also give it a little 45 in here, not too deep, but enough to give you some working room to lay it, right? So now, if you look, we have a much flatter piece, right? Much more room to work our knife and to get the fat out without taking the meat with it, right? That makes sense?
Yeah, I know.
If you can, when you always start, as safety, unless you're wearing cut gloves, give yourself a starting point, but cut away from yourself. If you do slip, because it's fat,
yeah,
you're gonna come out of here. You're not gonna come Right. Okay. Once you get a piece in your hand, of course, you can lay it down against the blade, and then you're gonna do is see my blade is flat, right? I'm pulling that piece of fat towards the back of my blade, and I'm slightly angled up a little bit. So I'm not just taking meat out.
Oh, okay.
If you come in, if you get a nice straight cut, you can do this and go all the way. But you're gonna have to take it down in smaller layers. The angling of the blade slightly, it's gonna basically follow the line between the fat, between the protein, and separate in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Chef, for everyone who's joined us, what's probably one of the biggest notes that you want everybody to leave here today with about this protein?
About this protein is that demographically, where we live, I guess, or where most people live, other than, say, Florida, southern states that are used to this type of food, is never be against trying something new because you never know, you might like it. My philosophy is more, you're not used to eating it, so it must be crazy, right? In Germany, eating ground horse is just as common as burger, but they were raised that way, so it's not weird to them. In American cuisine, eating horse is weird. There's cultures that eat dogs, that eat goats, that eat blood, to them it's not weird. Some of it, of course, is going to be an acquired taste, but there's a lot of proteins out there that are very neutral as well. Gator is very neutral if you prepare it correctly, and will take on the flavor you want to give it. So don't be afraid to try things, especially if you're in school to be a chef. Advice from me is try everything. You don't like it, you don't like it. You tried it though. At least you know the flavor profile, and you can at least assimilate how to make the dish without having to eat it. Does that make sense?
Chef, I have a question. On the gator, can you eat the arms and legs?
The arms and the legs are one of the best pieces. So
Right.
refer it to a chicken, right?
Right.
The arms and the legs, dark meat.
Okay.
And you can see, if I pull these arms up, you can see it. How's it going? You can see, I can grab the leg. You can see the color variation in the protein between the tail and the legs, especially deep towards these joints. It's dark meat.
Okay.
Everyone knows dark meat, better for you and has what? More flavor, right? What they usually do with this item is, if they take apart the alligator completely, is they remove the arms at the joint, roast them separately.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're doing is, we're actually going to do something different with this gator because I always research what I'm working on, and I've done gator in the past, but I wanted to see if anybody had done what I was thinking of doing with it. And my favorite is when I can't find anything. That means it's mine, right? In the South, it's very common to stuff gator with cream cheese. Put it back in, if you're not separating, and then smoke it that way or grill it that way, whatever. It stuffs the alligator. As you guys know, cream cheese tends to run after a while. It's kind of messy. It tastes great, that's fine. But my take is, if you're taking all the fat off of a protein, right, what are you left with? Protein. What happens when you cook straight protein? On a high temp surface, it gets dry and tough, right? Alligator, definitely. So my way around it is I am actually going to take these back today. We have 5 of them. We're gonna sous vide first. I'm a huge pusher of sous vide. Once you sous vide, you don't go back, right? Perfect temp, edge to edge, no matter what, right? Sous vide the alligator, giving us instead of a 4-hour smoke time, down to like an hour and a half at a lower temperature. So almost to the point where we could cold smoke. You're just infusing smoked flavor. You're not going to be cooking the animal any further. To combat it drying out, because smoke is dry, we're not going to use water in the smoker. I'm going to stuff the inside of the tail with andouille sausage. We're going to then take baker's twine, tie the tails back together, and then I'm playing with the idea of go from there, or bacon wrap the tails. I'm going to smoke it from there. Finish it with a Korean barbecue glaze.
And then that's how you plan on serving it.
So once it's done already, we'll give it a brush with the Korean barbecue, and we'll take the pieces apart, and everybody can try it. There'll be gator sausage as well. I have that. So I implore you guys, especially as culinary students, please come down and check it out. It's definitely an experience you don't see in most places. If you go to New Orleans, you'll find it. But smoking whole gators on campus, I don't know anybody that's done it, which is why I'm doing it. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
Speaking of, did you say you brine it in milk after or before?
So before you cook your algae, remove your fat first, of course. And then you soak it in, a lot of people soak it in milk or buttermilk. For me, I come from Hawaii. We have a lot, and as a spear fisherman, there's many species of fish that have if you eat them, they taste like the reef. If you eat them raw, they taste great, but if you cook them, the second you cook them, you cannot eat them, or even smell them in the kitchen. It's disgusting. They taste like reef, and what you do is you take coconut milk, soak it for 30 minutes, and it neutralizes completely. The acidity level of coconut milk is perfect, especially for like flesh of this texture, fish. It totally removes that flavor, but doesn't add any extra flavor. It's not like, oh, now my fish tastes like coconut, not reef. It just levels the playing board, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Wow, that was easy to satisfy.
Simple features.
Who's going to come on Tuesday?
Everyone.
You know, and back in Hawaii too, I used to do a lot of smoked wild boar as well. I hope in the future, Point B vision, that Centerpointe Foundation in general, Collins College can collaborate and actually do projects together like this. You know, it's why have a culinary school on a campus where we don't work together? We have same with the farm, Spadra Farm. You know, Centerpointe is now using Spadra Farm to order as much produce as possible. I'm sure if you come down and you've seen like our citrus and stuff, it's totally different. It's beautiful. Working together as a campus community and being sustainable, less carbon footprint, cleaner ingredients, not to mention healthier ingredients and in-season ingredients. You know? I'm an advocate for eating food that is in season, that you're currently living in. If you're eating watermelon at summertime, couple problems there. A, your body is looking for nutrients that come from other foods because as evolution works, it needs those nutrients during that time of year based on climate, right? Second problem is you're ordering watermelon, and I promise you it's not coming from California in the winter. So you're pulling resources from another part of the world, increasing the demand, a larger carbon footprint, and it's a snowball effect. You know? So in the time coming soon, we'll be working closer with the farm. I'm looking into getting a community garden vertical growth stations to help work with poly pantry. I just think that we could, as a whole community of campus, work together in a way that hasn't been done yet, but it's so blatantly obvious when I came here that, and it's why wouldn't we? And any idea I pitched to Aaron and them, they have been green light, immediate, absolutely, that's a great idea, that's what we want. This is exactly what they wanted. They brought me here to push stuff like that. And we have Chef Tanya on campus, who's huge. Her and I are like eye to eye for sustainability reasons. So with us working together, the more we work together, you know, the better the campus will get, the better the food will be. I know everybody's got a stigma of what Centerpointe used to be or was or is, but for me coming on as an executive chef, and I'm sure you guys will know when you get out into the world, once you take the executive chef role at any place, you immediately are responsible for its reputation. You were there or not. If it's a great restaurant, you're automatically known for a great restaurant. If it's not great, guess who's to blame for everything? So my background is more fine dining, but I also love street food. I love it. And I love Asian cuisine and fusing it. And the California demographic for me is great because Latina community, you know, you got the Latino community and a lot of Asian demographic on campus, as well as a bunch of others. But if you look at those cuisines as a whole, there's a lot of cross-utilized items in the cuisine. For best example, cilantro, used in everything in both cuisines, right? So you can mix and match those cuisine flavor profiles and come up with new items that don't exist, or you came up with, whatever, they exist now. No one's seen them, but it's new and it's fresh. And that's the whole food truck nation trend, you know, it's fusion and cool new ideas, like, oh, I didn't think of that, that's so awesome. You know, like, so taking Centerpointe as the base and turning all those stations into that idea is my goal. So I don't know if you guys come down a lot, but the global station now has all new recipes for every day of the week for 3 weeks, day and night, plus a vegan option. We're continuously adding, and we put a lot of work in on this last break. So the changes are there, but they're still coming. So give us some time, and you'll definitely see the difference for sure.
Yeah. You don't see some fat right here. I get it without.
This, like I explained over there, this is your tenderloin, right? The tenderloin is protected by its own fat cap under another layer of protein, and that violet light is one. You see it?
Yeah.
So we're not going to take the tenderloin out, but we're going to separate the spot where it's located. See how easy that comes off? It's called the jelly roll. You'll hear it with pork, you'll hear it with beef. It's the jelly roll because it just rolls out, and then this piece is your tenderloin. But it's the best tasting piece, but it's encased in a piece of fat. So you have to remove this fat all around it, right? You can see clearly where the fat starts, right?
Yeah.
This is a silver skin fat, so it's a fat layer with a silver skin. Can be easier to take off because you got more of a guide to my knife. You can see the blade underneath the fat. It's not buried, right?
Yeah.
Just start and don't pull hard. Just give it a little wiggle. And now the line to start with. See that piece? This silver skin piece. If you don't mind me pulling back just a second.
If you want me to cut through the bone on the tenderloin in the center?
See all that? That's all
fat.
no bueno. Yes, this is not easy. How big that is.
You already removed it. Jesus.
And then here, same thing. It's a very thin line of protein on this side.
Stuff you already removed.
So I get under there like that. And then I do follow that thin line straight.
And that would be the same on the other side, right?
Yes. And so at this point, as long as you're just taking the fat away, you're good. That. But also make sure you see that. This piece, yeah. That's one of those V-cut pieces. Anything against the spine of fat is always going to be a triangular form. So take, rip it, pull it. At this point, you can actually take your fingers.
So we're going to cut that, put a nice chicken tender, one cup noodles.
If you guys, anybody noticed that this pile in the middle, when you, a lot of people, when you see them start, like these guys, okay, they never cut an alligator, right? You would expect to see a pile of fat with protein mixed in because you're not an expert yet. But if you look, that is all fat. So you're doing a good job. You are doing a good job. See how thick that is in there? It gets kind of big. But this part, you can literally. What works really good sometimes is a soup spoon. It's like scraping an ahi. Yeah. You can scrape that fat right off. You can try using a knife. It doesn't work as good as a spoon, but it does work.
So, Chef,
Yep.
are there any nutritional benefits to eating alligator?
Alligator is good for you because it is a lean protein. You're removing all the fat. It is a white meat. The only thing is making sure you remove this part. So, and then you see, this is the part we pulled out. See that piece? All fat, right? We're smoking this, so I'm gonna take this right out because that thin of a piece, smoke. It's basically gonna be a piece of beef jerky hanging off the edge of this. You still want to make sure you. I just recommend take the time to take the fat because if you don't, the end result product is. This piece right here actually is wonderful. Chicken meat leg. It comes out one piece, you guys just follow it here. So this one.
Would it be like okay to have like at least little pieces like that, or like would it have to be completely?
You want to take off is 99, as much as all of it. If you can get all of it, you can get all of it. Down in here too, you know. That's the bone. You know.
Chef, now you'll be smoking it Tuesday?
Yeah, so today we're gonna get it into the sous vide. Into the milk actually first, and then into the sous vide tomorrow. It's gonna be a day's process to do this one. Because I'm trying a new method that I don't see research on anyway, so I want to try it out. Coconut milk today, sous vide tomorrow, let it rest out, and then on Tuesday we'll smoke it.
About what time will that?
We start at 5, so we'll start smoking, say 2 o'clock.
Okay.
2:30.
You know?
We don't need that much time. We're doing smoked sausage also, but that is not a long process in itself. So you can smoke an alligator from raw in about 3 to 4 hours, man. A big one, of course, takes longer, but this size, 20 pounds.
So how old were these alligators?
These guys,
Yeah.
not very old, a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. You start looking, once they reach about 4 feet, 6 feet, like 6 feet, that's when they start to grow the girth. It's like same with a shark. At first they may be long, but they're slim. As they get a little older, then they just start blowing out. That's when they get big and more mature. These guys, they grow out longer first, and then they fill out.
Okay. And then they get fattier too?
Yeah. If you have like say an 8 to 10 foot gator, like I said, when you cut into this meat, you're gonna see white marbling in the meat. The fat is into the flesh, and yeah, you can still eat it, no problem. You got to remove the outside fat, but the young gator has the best flavor because all that fat is not there, and people assimilate that to. They call it swamp notes, like it's a wine, but it's exactly what it means. You eat it and you taste the swamp. Not to mention it does not render, so it's like chewing gum made of animal fat. No, you can take it out, but I want to keep it all on everything together.
Intact?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, you went through all around. It's okay. We're gonna tie these anyway. So what I want you to do is take this fat line out, take this fat line out. Okay. Scrape as much of this out as you can, just a little bit, not much. Remove this, remove that, and you're done. We're gonna do baker's twine around it.
Okay, so this part where I should like try to take.
So the tail's got the 4 pieces, right? Flat, 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 flat. And then what people do is they stuff cream cheese against the bone, and they put the meat back together, and then they curl it, smoke it. Cream cheese does not add any type of oil protection or fat, absorption. So andouille sausage, it's Cajun, goes with alligator perfectly, and it's going to protect the meat. So as the meat's smoking, the sausage is going to release the oils into the alligator meat. So you're going to get the flavor from the andouille into the alligator as well, but it'll be a much juicier and tender product because it's got that fat protection over the protein. Because as everybody, especially culinary students, know, when you cook protein, on a molecular level, what you're looking at is a protein, and you're cooking at high heat, it shrinks. When it shrinks, all that juice leaves. So what this does is protects that protein, not allow so much water to be released.
So you're keeping the meat attached to the bone?
Yeah, we're gonna put it back together with the sausage, tie it with some baker's twine, or bacon wrap it. I'm kind of not decided yet, but and then you put it in the smoke, you curl it back up. So when the final product's cooked, it still looks like a whole alligator, but it's got pieces. Then you just cut those little slabs right off. It's a very unique, interesting piece of meat, and you can do a lot with it, honestly. I think actually Larry and I were talking earlier today, coming up with Asian fusion ideas for it. It's like so out of the box. Like alligator is usually only known fried or the way they do it in the South, but it's like when you get a blank protein, you can do anything to it, Beef, not so much, because it's beef, right? Or venison, it's venison. You can't add anything to it. Root vegetables go with stuff like that. But alligator is really versatile. It's basically chicken. Or as my sous chef would say, the Wagyu of the swamp. that term is coined.
Put that on the shirt.
That's good. Yeah,
Can you eat it raw?
I would highly advise not doing that. Not only is it a freshwater animal, but it lives in dirty water. And if the fat has the flavor of the swamp itself, the meat might not raw, I'm sure, but it's one of those, you want to cook it to kill bacteria. So you wouldn't slice chicken, make chicken tartare, right? I mean, you can try and tell me how it comes out, but your stomach wouldn't process it well. So.
Kind of like oysters, it lives in the bottom of the hole.
So he's got all 4, right? So as you look at, does everybody see this? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So what we're gonna do is sausage, tie it together. And we'll do a little bit more cleanup on the fat, but and then once it's done smoking, we will remove the arms and the legs so people can try that part. And then I don't know if you guys caught it before, but this is called the pterygoin, and it's the jaw muscle. It's the equivalent of the cheek meat on fish. A lot of people don't know, but the best meat on a fish is its cheeks, right? Yes. This is the same spot. Just don't let these teeth cut you; they are sharp. If you looked at this as you actually would like a piece of beef, this is your flank steak is under here, collar right here, and your chuck back here, and then these are your 4 roast, pine roast, and then the tail. This is be your top loin, bottom loin, tenderloin. I'm sure you guys know the difference between top loin and bottom loin. Anybody? Top loin always has the best flavor. The bottom loin sits on the bottom. Anything that settles in that body into that protein. So still tastes good, but top loin is the best.
It's good for beef jerky.
Yes. And you can make alligator jerky.
So it would be just cleaning up around it.
So on this one, I just get this right here out. Like that. See how much you can do? Because you're so far, you've taken the main components of the fat out. When we get it back, before we do soak it, we'll just take a spoon, scrape a little bit, but. So, you guys can see this, right? So, this looks like a whole alligator, right?
Wait, hold on.
He's only 20 pounds. I'm lifting him up, right? He looks like a whole alligator, right? He's not. He is filleted. Filleted, especially right here, filleted. But when we tie him together with the sausage underneath, he will come one piece again. When we smoke him, proper way to smoke an alligator is never straight. You lose a lot of moisture that way. You snuggle them into the grill like this. You can pose them if you want. I mean, but like you should curl it. It keeps the meat protein together. The juices stay closer. So, if we were to fabricate this one all the way, of course, you're going to need a little bit of a different knife. But you guys can see this, right? Rib cavity. This is your rack of ribs. Right here. So this is your flank. When we do smoke this guy, what I'll do when I do the event is I'll take these ribs off separately. Be very limited supply on them, but they'll be available. So if you want to try alligator ribs, I definitely suggest it for sure.
So how are they going to be served at the station?
What did you say? So we're going to smoke it outside. We got a smoker that's got two compartments. It's got a barrel and it's got a drum. Drums up. We're going to do the sausage in the drum. We'll do the alligator in the barrel. Once it's done, I will be carving it outside, but then it will be served off the, as you guys, pasta station. Closest station I can get it to so it doesn't lose heat. You know? But I definitely hope you guys come to this event because it'll be a unique experience. Good? All right, well, hold it up. Show everybody your alligator. Get it off the stove if you're going to fire it later.
Sure.
Both of you.
I named him Lyle.
Yeah.
All right, let's get those boys back on ice. All right, let me go get the cooler. Thank you, fellas.
On behalf of everyone and the 2 little gators and 3 sleeping at Centerpointe, I'd like to thank Chef Chris and Chef Raymond for this lesson. So you guys.